close my eyes, only for a moment, and the moment's gone. Do you want me to sing that part?
Let's just keep that in there. Well,
I closed my ears during that.
I hope everyone closed their ears because we're not Kansas.
No, we're not.
This is not a live concert. This is American Brews and Tunes.
Here's a theme song, you know it's not a mean song. It's a good song, just as it should song. American Brews and Tunes. Shibbity-beeby-dow!
Wow, thanks again for joining us for another fun episode of American Brews and Tunes.
Yeah, thank you.
My name is Stephen Johnston.
And my name is Jesse Titus.
And this is a part one of a two-part episode.
Yep, part one, everybody.
So, if you've been listening in for the past couple episodes, you know what's going on. If not, here's a little freshen up or what do you call that? Recap.
Here's
recap.
Here's a little freshen upper.
Yeah, freshen upper for you.
Refresh.
A refresh.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do two episodes that are related back to back.
Yeah, boy.
I recommended two albums from the same band for Jesse to listen to, and he did the same for me with a different band.
Yeah.
And they're gonna be an earlier album and a later album, both to kind of compare how they sounded at the beginning of their careers and both how they sounded near the end of their careers.
Well, not near the end, but currently or
Later.
And
was a poor choice.
Yeah, not at the end of their careers. They're still both of the artists and artist/band that we recommended are still currently alive and touring, and
They're still banding.
They're still being a band. Yeah.
Banding.
Steve,
They're banding together.
They're banding together like a Band-Aid.
Yeah, like Band of Brothers.
Yeah, like Band of Brothers.
But no war.
What?
But no war.
Band or Brothers?
Band of Brothers. You know that?
Band of Brothers? No or?
No, war.
Oh, no, war.
W-A-R, war.
I just thought you said no war. No war.
No, I just don't pronounce very well.
Yeah.
You know the Steven Spielberg, Tom Hanks hit series, Band of Brothers?
Yeah, I know that one.
It's great.
It is good.
It's long.
Well, I think I've only seen like one episode, but it was good.
You should watch the whole thing sometime. It's worth it.
Yeah.
Anyways, what I recommended for Jesse to listen to is the band Against Me. I had him listening to their debut album, which is called Reinventing Axel Rose.
Reinventing Axel Rose.
And next week, he will review their not their most recent album, but a more recent album entitled Transgender Dysphoria Blues. So that sounds like there's lots of change going on there.
Yep, definitely. And Steve is reviewing this week an album by Bon Iver, or as Steve says, Bon Iver.
Yeah.
Self-titled. Bon Iver.
It's not called self-titled.
The album is self-titled.
I know.
And then next week he'll be listening to and reviewing the album 22 A Million, which is his most recent album.
Now, when you say 22 a million, does that mean the number 22 space A space million, or is it
22
to a million?
No, it's 22 comma a million.
Like, let's count up from 20 to a million.
No.
No, I knew what the title was. I just thought it's funny. Oh, man.
Oh boy. So I'm excited about this. I think it'll make for interesting conversation both this week and next week.
But we also have beers that are related.
Yes, to go along with the theme of
the related albums.
This and that, or related albums.
Yeah, we'll just say some albums that are from the same band that are different. So we'll have beers from the same brewery that are different.
Yeah, exactly.
But related.
Now, the beer that I'm having this week and the beer that I'm having next week is very much related to this idea of recommending two albums.
Yeah, what's the brewery?
The brewery that I'm having this beer from, or that made this beer, is Evil Twin Brewing. And the beer I'm having this week is Yin. Now,
Yin? What does that mean?
Y-I-N.
Like yins? Like,
No.
Oh, yins don't know what a good cup of beer is. Why don't yins go down and get some Orange City in it? Go down to John Eagle and get some Orange City, but wash up before you goes. You know?
A good cup of beer?
I don't know. I was ad-libbing. It was the first thing that popped into my head.
Ad-libbing, that's funny.
Yeah. Pittsburgh style.
But this beer is part of a duo, or there's another beer that is its counterpart.
Like
And-
the yang to its yin? Now, why is that funny?
I was about to say because if you know the name of this beer is Yin, you'd probably be able to guess what the name of the other beer is that I'm going to be having next week. Yang.
Yes.
Is it the Yang to its Yin?
The yin to its yang, the yang, you know?
Yep. I know.
Oh, man. That's so funny.
This is Yin is an Imperial Taiji style stout.
I don't know what Taiji
I don't know what that means. I don't know what Taiji is.
It's an imperial stout.
Taiji.
Now, what's the yang? Why is it related?
Yang is an IPA.
I believe it's a double IPA, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe it's a Taiji as well.
Yes.
Taiji style IPA. Now, I'm gonna read you this little back part to give you a little bit more of a description of the beer.
The back part in the can?
The back part of the can. Yep. They say this is one half of a black and tan. So this is their version of a black and tan.
Well, it's half of their version of a black and tan.
Yeah, exactly. Half of their version. The black version.
Yeah.
Normally, what is it? It's a stout and a lager.
Stout and a lager. I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say I want to say it's Guinness and Harp.
Yeah, probably.
I think that's the standard one.
Yeah.
But if you ever been to a bar, if you were a black and tan, they'll pour the lager first, and then they'll pour the stout on top, and you can actually see the stout floating on top of the lager.
Yeah, they
it's kind of
separate.
funky looking, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. It's like water and oil.
Yeah. Or you can go and buy a bottle of pre-mixed black and tan. I know Yingling sells one. It's all homogeneous, so there's no separation. It's all together.
Yeah. But then they go on to say, not just any black and tan, but the one where a toasted smug and a happy fella get together to make a sublime Taiji style balance. Mix the yin and yang together, or enjoy this profoundly evil imperial stout solo.
So you'll be enjoying it solo.
I'm going to be enjoying it solo. They actually have a version where they mix it for you.
I have had that before.
Yes.
And you may be saying to yourself, what the heck? An imperial stout mixed with an imperial IPA? What? That can't go together. But I'm telling you right now, it was pretty good.
Huh,
I enjoyed it. It was like a roasty stout. So that's the scripture.
Regardless, I'm excited to try this. I'm very excited. So
What I'm having this 2 weeks is from one of our favorite local Nashville craft breweries, Bearded Iris.
yes,
Aren't
Bearded
they
Iris.
great?
They are great.
Well, what I'm having this week is the Homestyle IPA, which is probably their flagship IPA, if I'd have to
Yeah, I
to
think so.
guess. And it's a New England style IPA. I know we've talked about that before on this podcast, so it's going to be pretty juicy. It's not going to be filtered, so it'll be hazy.
Yeah.
There's a haze craze going across the nation right now. It
Across
seems like
the
with
United
IPAs.
States.
But next week, I'm going to have another brew from Bearded Iris. It's the Double Homestyle.
Oh, so it's a progression of sorts.
It is a progression
From
of
an
sorts.
IPA to a double IPA.
Yeah, so we're going to go from from
older
album to newer album. You knew what I meant.
And in the case of Bearded Iris, they brewed this beer first, and then they brewed the double home style. Sorry, double
Makes
home
sense.
style.
So let's say we both have cans this week. Let's say that we crack these cans, pour them into some glasses, and do the old
them a
review
shot?
ski. Yeah.
Here goes.
Right, Steve. More like right, Jesse.
This has a lot of foam on it.
So I poured my beer out, and just as suspected, it is pretty hazy. It's got a nice, almost like, because it's hazy, it gives it like a brown yellow color, like a brown orange.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Almost like if you're dehydrated and you pee, you get that real dark yellow
pea.
So imagine a really cloudy pee. That's kind of what this looks like. But it's got a foam on top.
It looks more appetizing than that.
Yeah. It was just a descriptor that I thought of. Smell. It smells very, very hoppy, like in the way that you'd expect hop pellets when you're brewing beer to smell. It just smells very floral and hoppy.
Smell it. Ooh, that smells so good.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
What's your beer look like?
Mine looks pretty darn good. It's black as the night, as you'd expect an imperial stout to be. It smells really good. Has that classic roasty malty smell that a stout should have, and then I love it when it has that smell.
It looks like it's got a pretty dark head. Nice,
yeah, it's a nice dark tan head.
Some people call it tan. I would say it's even darker than tan.
Would you go so far as to say that it's light brown?
No, I would say dark tan.
Brown? No, you say dark tan.
It's not tan, it's dark tan. It's dark, though.
This beer is 10%
by
volume.
So that's a boozy beer.
90 IBUs as well, so it is going to be a boozy bitter beer. You know, the classic double B.
Boozy
Boozy
bitter.
and bitter.
So mine is not 10% and mine is not 90 IBUs. On the contrary, mine is 6% and I don't know how many of the IBUs it has.
Yeah.
But
Who knows?
Let's give it a little clank, a little try, you know?
Sounds good.
Shibbity-poo-doo! Oh, delicious. Oh, man. This
Whoa.
beer is so good.
Whoa. This beer is really good too. It's interesting.
I'm curious about that one, but this, it's got that, it's not really hoppy like an IPA that you expect. I'm going to go out on a limb and say orange juicy. It's got
Orange juicy, yeah.
And the way that New England style IPAs are juicy, and that's the only,
Yeah.
that's the only descriptor I can think of. Like,
Yeah, from what I remember,
sweet.
From what I remember, it's very much like orange juicy. Is a good word.
Yeah.
Is a good phrase.
Like if you mix orange juice with grapefruit and add a little bit of hops, that's what I would classify this as. It's a very good IPA. I'm excited to try the double home style.
Same here. Well, I'm excited to try it. Very nice malt.
Your beer?
Yeah, mine has a really nice malt flavor, and then a not strange aftertaste, strange in a good way. A strange aftertaste that I really can't quite pinpoint when it is. That must be that Taiji style.
Taiji.
Taiji. I'm gonna be checking this in on Untapped right now because gotta get those badges. Badges.
We don't need no stinking badges.
Untapped is a great app. They are not our sponsor, but definitely check them out if you love craft beer because it's
A good way to remember what you've checked in, to give descriptions, and
Yeah.
to socialize.
It's just
social media for beer drinkers. You don't even have to be a craft beer drinker. You could be a regular beer.
Technically, you could, yeah.
Yeah, because you can check in any beer on there.
Do you want to do a little switcherooski?
Yes, let's.
Here you go.
This smells so roasty, your beer. Pretty smooth for 10%, but...
Do you taste that strange but good aftertaste that like tastes kind of weird?
Yeah, because there's definitely the bitter aftertaste from the roasted malts, but there's something else in there that I can't pinpoint either.
Yeah, I don't know what it is either.
It's good, though. I like that. Very good.
Yeah, this is delicious.
If our beer flavors progress as the beer gets warmer, we will let you know. Otherwise, shall we move on to the albums?
Let's.
I think that you went first last time?
Maybe, I don't know. You go first.
All right, so I'm reviewing...
And as you know... Never mind, keep going.
What do they know?
I was about to say that one phrase about first and second, and I was like, wait a second.
First is the worst. Second is the best.
I know. That's what I was gonna start saying. I was like, wait a second. I like Bon Iver better. I shouldn't say that.
All right. Let me delve into this self-titled album by Bon Iver.
Okay.
And do you see how I spell it at the top? BAWN space EYE space VUR. Bon Iver.
Gosh.
No, I gotta. That's how I like to pronounce it, just because I was first introduced it by reading the name, so I was like, Bon Iver, what's that?
Yeah.
But the band is mainly comprised of one person. There's some other instrumentalists that join him and play with him, but his name is Justin Vernon.
Yep.
And he got the name from the French phrase "good winter."
Yep.
So it was from some movie, I believe, that he got the phrase. I can't, or TV show, but that's apparently he had mononucleosis and was watching a television show a lot
in a cabin or something like that.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah. Anyhow,
In the wintertime.
He's from Wisconsin.
Milwaukee, right?
Wisconsin. I don't know. It's somewhere outside of maybe outside of Milwaukee. I don't know.
Yeah.
I know it's in Wisconsin, so they know their winters. That's for sure.
They sure do.
So maybe he
Steve,
really likes the winter themes.
Let me test your geography. What state is Wisconsin by?
Minnesota.
Yep, my home state.
I only know that because you are from Minnesota, and I think you've said it's near Wisconsin. I don't know geography at all. I do, however, know that 70s show took place in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Yes, they did. It did, I mean.
Mainly because at the end of every episode, they would say,
Hello, Wisconsin!
Or at the end of the theme song, maybe.
Yeah, the theme song, yeah.
But going back to Justin Vernon from Bon Iver, and apologies to those who actually like let me say it, Bon Iver.
Bon Iver, yeah.
I'm just going to say Bon Iver because that's what I've been saying, and I'm stubborn.
Yeah.
If you don't like that, sorry. I don't feel bad about saying it.
I feel bad about you saying it.
You do, but I'm going to keep saying it.
For those of you who
I'm giving one apology, a catch-all apology right now. I apologize for not pronouncing it the way that you want me to pronounce it.
For those of you who know that it's pronounced Bon Iver, whenever I'm talking about Bon Iver, I'll say Bon Iver.
There, we'll counter out each other then.
And not Bon Iver.
Yeah. So, anyways, going back to Wisconsin, apparently he's got this familiarity, obviously, of winter. A fondness, maybe? He looks back on the winter.
Perhaps.
He uses the imagery of winter a lot in this album, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
I can only assume that in other albums he probably does the same. I'm not sure. I'll find out pretty soon, I guess, when I review the next album.
You will.
But his debut album was called For Emma, Forever Ago, which was released in 2007, was a critical hit. And the album I'm reviewing right now, the self-titled one, came out after that.
Yep.
So that one came out in 2011, I'm sorry, 2011. Yeah. And this also was a huge critical and commercial success. I think he got a Grammy for this.
You got a couple Grammys.
So obviously there is merit to this.
Yeah.
Prior to reviewing this album, I only knew one song called Skinny Love, which was on his first album.
Yep.
Other than that, I knew nothing. Absolutely nothing.
And I told you to be patient. And I told you to be kind.
But anyways, the first album for what's it called? Forever Ago, is much more stripped back, like a kind of. It sounds like you're alone in a cabin. That's what I've read, and by knowing the song "Skinny Love," I can see that. This album, however, builds strongly upon that, where it takes that sound, but he adds layering. There's much more instrumentation.
Yeah.
So sound-wise, it's a lot different. For the better, I would assume. I think it was.
Whenever I was gonna recommend an album, the first one of these two albums, either the self-titled or For Emma Forever Ago, I had a really difficult time because I like them both.
Fair enough. I can imagine there's people who like them both, people who like one other. It's personal preference, who knows. Anyways, before I get into the songs, just a quick note. Justin Vernon, he creates really unique melodies, and he tends to utilize his falsetto range more than his full voice range.
Yes.
And I did know this going into the album, so instead of him singing like this, yeah, I'm gonna sing a song, he sings like this, yeah, I'm gonna sing a song. But obviously, the timbre of his voice is a lot different than mine.
Yeah.
But if you didn't know what falsetto is, that's what it is. Oh, man.
Do you want to hear a quick fun story?
Sure.
Whenever I was getting a tattoo from Russ once, we were talking about Bon Iver, and he was like, did you know that apparently he like just kind of started singing with his falsetto one time, just like randomly for fun, and then one of his friends was like, hey, you should just always do that and like make that, like sing like that for an album.
So he
like
did?
That. And then he did, yeah.
And that's like what he's known for.
Yeah.
People love it.
I don't know if, I think Russ was like, I don't know if that's true.
It might be. It's fun to believe that is true.
Yeah.
Disclaimer. I gave this album a fair chance. I was open-minded when I listened to this.
I don't believe you.
I did. I honestly did. I give every album a fair chance.
Okay.
I was biased beforehand because I assumed I didn't like Bon Iver. But I did. I opened my mind and I gave it a fair chance.
Okay.
Moving on to song number 1, which is called Perth. I gave it a rating of génial. And I recommended it.
What?
That's French for great.
You did a French rating.
Yes, I did.
Génial?
So this is my first recommendation.
Okay.
And I do need to mention before I actually talk about the song, the title. Perth is a place in Australia.
Yep.
And you're saying, why would he title one song on this album after a place? That's where you're mistaken if you were to ask that exact question. Every title on this album is a place.
Yes.
And I'll actually elaborate on that more probably within the next song or two. Because I think there's a reason why he did that, obviously.
Okay.
Anyways, after the first couple listens of the entire album, this was mainly the only song I could remember. Like, if I'm trying to sit there and, like, think of, like what song sticks out to me, do I remember any melodies or any vocal lines, any instrumentations? This was the only song I could remember after a couple listens.
Yeah.
And it was mainly the guitar part.
Yeah.
That guitar that comes in at the very beginning, and it kind of it's pretty repetitious and it's really infectious.
Yeah, he does. He uses a lot of like looped themes or like looped hooks.
Mm-hmm. But that guitar line I really, really enjoyed. On my first listen of the album, however, I foolishly thought, ooh, the rest of the album is going to sound just like this. Boy, was I wrong. But we'll get into that later.
Okay.
Oh, man. But this is a good song. I just really enjoy the crescendo throughout the entire song. It really builds and builds and builds until about 2/3 of the way through. It's almost a jam.
Yeah.
Like when the last vocal parts are done, it goes in that bum 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 cha bum 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 cha.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It as far as Bon Iver can jam, this is a jam, and it's like really it's cool sounding.
Yeah.
I didn't expect that because, like I said, only knowing the song "Skinny Love," I would not expect something like this from him.
Yeah.
And I really just like how this song builds up. Thematically, it's kind of interesting, and I had to do some research to kind of figure out his mindset or what he's talking about.
Yeah.
And even about the lyrics itself, I couldn't really fully figure out what he meant. He's very poetic, and he's,
Very much so.
for lack of a better word, dense.
Very dense.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of imagery that he puts into his words that are hard to interpret.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Oh,
he
yeah, he
means something.
definitely does,
I don't
yeah.
know if he means something or if he's being vague, but it's hard to actually tell what he says.
Yeah.
Anyhow, he's writing the song about a time that he was in Perth, Australia, meeting a friend, I believe, for a video shoot. And while he was with the friend, I guess he was meeting this friend for 3 days. Or, let me rephrase this. He met his friend, and the friend that he met up with
Yeah.
was good friends with Heath Ledger, who passed away 3 days prior.
Oh, okay.
So he was with that person
When
while that
that
person's
happened.
experiencing grief, and so he had that as kind of like maybe like an end of something. He refers to the song a lot as like a birth of sorts, like coming into something new, a new experience almost.
Did you say a Perth of sorts?
A Perth of sorts. Anyhow,
Okay, yeah.
the line "Still alive, who you love" might refer to that. I think he repeats that one a lot in the song.
I'm still alive.
Anyways, I wish the rest of the album was like this song.
Really?
I do.
Man.
Moving on to song number 2, which is called Minnesota, Wisconsin.
Comma, W-I, Wisconsin. Yeah. Minnesota, Wisconsin.
I gave this a rating of d'accord,
Dakar?
which means okay. I think that's how you pronounce it.
It's Dakar, yeah.
Yeah. D apostrophe ACORD.
It means like, okay, I understand.
Well, I'm just going with
Yes.
it's okay. It's d'accord.
Dakar. Dakar.
There's this weird like fuzzy guitar or bass part
Yeah.
in the song that
Yeah.
almost sounds out of place. Would you say, or do you like it?
No, I
like it?
I like it. Yeah, I like all the songs.
For me, it comes out of nowhere. But the part I really like in the song is, for a while, I kept thinking it was an arpeggiated, like, finger-picked guitar, but the more I listened, I was like, that's a banjo. That's not a guitar. But I did like that part, and they come up with this finger-pick style banjo line that continues throughout a couple different parts of the song, and the different parts of the song that it continues through are very different, but it still goes through.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't really have much to say about this song. It's
Okay,
just,
that's fine.
It's just d'accord.
It's just Dakar.
However, on to song number 3, which is called Holocene,
Holocene.
I gave it bon.
Bon.
And
Bon.
I recommended it.
Okay.
I believe that this is one of his more popular songs. Next to Skinny Love, it might be his most popular.
This is the song that won a Grammy.
So obviously the people who vote on Grammys really liked it.
Yeah.
But no, I recommended it, so obviously I liked it more than the rest of the songs.
Mm-hmm. Man, by the end of this review, you're going to be beating a dead horse saying, I wish this album was better.
No, I'll refrain. I'll refrain as much as I can.
Okay.
Anyways, I selected this one second because after a couple more listens, this was the song I retained also.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a good reason to pick a song, I guess.
Yeah, I'd say so.
The one part that I kept coming back to and singing to myself was, I could see for miles, miles, miles. And he comes back to that part 3 different times in the song. Now here I'm going to talk about titles again. I mentioned before during Perth that I would talk about the titles, so here I will.
Okay.
So the actual word Holocene is a bar in Portland, Oregon,
Okay.
but the word Holocene itself is a specific epoch.
Okay.
And do you know what an epoch is?
No.
I had to look this up
Epoch.
too. Like EPOCH, epoch.
Yeah.
I had to actually look this up. And Justin Vernon is on record as talking about this song as an epoch,
Okay.
and the album as epochs.
Okay.
Epoch means a period of time in history or a person's life, typically marked by notable events or particular characteristics.
Okay.
So when he says that, or when I think of like an epoch, I think of it's like one specific moment that's defining, that's important. So I think, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say that each title is a reference to a place that means an event to him,
something to him,
or means something. So
I'm guessing
when I say that, this is a concept album of sorts, I would say.
Yeah. I'm guessing the so maybe the reason it's self-titled is because the fact that he calls himself Bon Iver,
Good Winter,
is hit an epoch for him.
It could be.
And I'm guessing that epoch is connected to the word epiphany.
It could be. I have no idea.
I'm guessing it is.
It could be.
Derived from... So, when a word comes from Old Latin, maybe the original is epoch, and the derived term for epiphany is... Crickets.
All right, old man literature.
We don't need to... Oh, is that a... hello, yes, it's time for another lesson in the English language.
Yeah, we already got one old man here. His name is Old Man Rust, and I'm sure he would kick you to the curb if his hip wasn't replaced. But anyhow...
Oh my goodness.
Epochs.
Yeah.
That's what makes up the songs in this album, I believe.
Okay.
So it's pretty cool that he did that.
Uh-huh.
Like I said, I'm not the biggest fan, but I can see merit where merit is due.
Yep.
Anyway, so back to the song Holocene. This song is split up into 3 portions, I would say. Mm-hmm. And it's not like you can wonder, where are the portions? Because after he says that I can see for miles and miles and miles, the song almost stops and you think it's over, and then he comes back in.
Yeah.
And that separates the 3 parts individually. Okay. And it sounds like he's talking about 3 specific times in his life. Like one of them talks about like Halloween, and apparently in Wisconsin people get blackout drunk on Halloween.
People get blackout drunk all the time in Wisconsin.
Yeah, I remember at one point in time I went down a rabbit hole on Facebook for like drunkest cities in Wisconsin or in the United States.
Yeah, it's a bar.
There was a lot in Minnesota and Wisconsin.
Yeah, there were a lot. What else is there to do in the winter?
I don't know. Go to a cabin and drink. I don't know. But he talks about these 3 different points in his life where he's like gets a reminder of sorts, and when he gets to the chorus, you find the reminder.
Okay.
And the reminder is the smallness of ourselves as a people, as a person, in the vastness of the universe or the vastness of the world.
Yeah,
or
with
life.
the line.
So.
And once I knew.
And once I knew.
I was not
magnificent.
Yeah.
Let me start that line one more time, because I have the whole line here and I want to read it. And at once I knew I was not magnificent. High above the highway aisle, jagged vacants, thick with ice. And I could see for miles and miles and miles. So he's like, he has this moment where something in his life causes him to think a lot, and then he looks out into the distance, and he's like, wow, what I'm experiencing right now is big to me, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not that important, because I'm not important.
And I can see for miles and miles.
I can see that there's a lot more than just me, or what I'm experiencing. So it's pretty cool that he kind of decompartmentalizes his thoughts to, is that the right word? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense, yeah.
Decompartmentalizes his little problems to say that the world's got all these crazy things and I'm just a small being, and really it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. But to me it does.
Yeah.
So thematically it's pretty good, and it is a catchy song.
Yeah.
Moving on to track number 4, which is called Towers.
Towers, yep.
Towers. That's Pittsburghese for towers.
For towers.
I gave it decor. It's okay.
Okay.
This seems to be a more stripped back song until the drums come in 2/3 of the way through.
Yep.
And there are backup vocals, a pedal steel guitar, and all kind of instruments, and it almost sounds like a country hoedown. No, I would. That doesn't. It definitely doesn't sound like a hoedown. But the first time I heard it, it was definitely unexpected.
Yeah.
Because it does come in, and it's folky and country sounding. Mm-hmm. Not what you expect from Bon Iver.
Oh, whoa! Look at that.
Well, I'm saying something you expect. If you were expecting a country album, he would be Bon Iver. But he's not, so he's Bon Iver. So there you go.
That's funny.
But it is a pretty cool, like, country, folky, I don't want to call it a breakdown, but you know what I mean.
I know what you mean, yeah.
But it is quick and it goes away. It doesn't last the entire second half of the song.
Yeah.
But it's nice. It's a nice change up, and they keep things fresh with that.
Yeah.
On to song number 5, which is called Michigant?
Michigant, yeah.
I think it relates to Michigan.
Michigant. How does it spelled again?
It's like Michigan, but instead of the G-A-N, it's C-A-N-T.
Yeah.
I gave it a decor.
D'accord.
It's okay. It's very pleasant sounding, almost lullaby-like. And I think some of that has to do with the stripped backness, the really soft, smooth sounds, and it's in a triple meter, so it's like a waltzy, you know?
Yeah.
I could fall asleep to this. It would be great. But the song's about being young and experiencing intense yet fleeting love.
Yep.
Thematically, that's something he sings about a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I'm assuming that on the last album he did it as well.
Yep.
For Emily. For Emma.
For Emily. For Emma. Forever ago. Yeah.
So he's
definitely his lyrics are definitely way more poetic than most people's lyrics.
Yeah, it's hard to come up with his lyrics, and if you read them by themselves, they don't even seem like song lyrics.
Yeah,
they just seem like just poems.
But like the way that he sings them, like if you were to just read them, it doesn't really seem like they fit together well.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense. But how he sings them and how he presents them, I think makes it sound pretty darn good.
It is very pleasant sounding. I will say that. But I'll get into that later.
Okay.
On to song number 6, which is called Hinnom, Texas.
Mm-hmm. Hinnom, Texas.
I gave this rating of...
comma TX.
Bone. It's my last rating.
Bone.
Or my last recommendation.
Okay.
He uses his natural voice a little more in this song, so a little less... And probably in the verses. It's interesting.
Kind of a little bit of a treat, huh?
It is, because for most of the lyrics and the singing prior to this, it's all been his head voice or his falsetto voice.
Yeah.
So here he's full ranging it, so he's going into his deeper notes.
Yeah,
it's a nice change of pace. I liked it.
Yeah, I kind of like that about how he sings and writes, because since he's in the falsetto so much, then it makes his regular voice more impactful, in my opinion.
So when it comes out, yeah.
Yeah.
The hook on this song that he sings in the falsetto part does remind me of another song, however. John Legend's All of Me. All of me is all of you. You know that song?
Did that come out before this or after this?
After.
Yeah.
But you know the line I'm talking about.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
But it's a catchy line. I'm just saying that's what it reminded me of because I knew John Legend's song way more. Definitely, Bon Iver's song Hinnom, Texas came out before John Legend, so is there copycats going on? I don't think so. No. It's just a melody that reminds me of another song. It happens all the time. I think, and I say I think very stressfully because I can't really tell what he's singing about most of the time. Mm-hmm. I think that this song is about being in a bad place and losing faith in love, but trying to get back to a place where you have faith in love.
Okay.
I think. It's hard to tell. It's really hard to tell what he means.
Yeah.
And it'd be nice if he gave like a, what do you call it, like a Cliff Notes? Where he's like, this is what this song means. Here you go.
It'd be nice if a lot of bands did that.
I even saw some interviews where he was talking about specific songs, and when he was talking about them, I was like, I still don't know what you're talking about. You're so vague in your descriptions. Anyways, on to song number 7, which is called Wash. W-A-S-H. Period. So it's short for Washington. I gave it a rating of como si, como ça.
Comme si, comme ça.
Which means it's so-so. Step below, okay?
So. Step below, okay?
Yeah. Is that pronounced correct? It's como si, como ça.
No, it's not comme. You don't say the E. It's just comme si, comme ça.
Comme ça, comme si, comme ça.
Comme si, comme ça.
There's even a little mark under the C for sa, so I don't know what that means. This is a slower song. There's not many fast songs on this album, but there's a key part that comes in that's really relentless throughout the entire song, but they build upon it with strings and all kind of various instrumentation. Mm-hmm. Musically, it's pretty cool, but as far as the rest of it goes, it's so-so.
Comme si, comme ça.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
On to song number 8, which is called Calgary. We've moved out of the U.S. Well, I guess we did with Perth, so that's Calgary is a place in Canada.
Yeah.
Calgary. I only know that because of hockey, the Calgary Flames.
Yep, Calgary Flames.
I gave
this is the song this is the other one that I thought you were going to recommend.
I almost did.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I gave this a rating of Decor.
Decor?
And there's one part in the song that's almost one of my favorite parts on the album.
Yeah.
But the reason I didn't recommend it is because before you say that, I like if I'm not listening to the song and I try and think of it, I can't think of how it goes.
Really?
That's why I didn't recommend it specifically for that reason. Because when it comes on to this bridge in this part of the song, when the drums come in and there's guitars going, and they're a little bit more heavy guitars than you expect to hear, it's another jam.
Yeah.
And it sounds really cool. It's just because I couldn't remember it, it wasn't memorable for me. That's why I didn't recommend it. I thought it's one of my favorite parts in the album when I come to it.
When you get to it,
I couldn't think of it.
It's because like whenever you get to it, you're like, oh, nice, yeah.
Yes.
Before
Continue.
What I'm realizing about as you're talking about this album is that I'm having the same problem, and I think that's kind of a really unique quality about Bon Iver's music, is that it's like I can't. If you were to say, "Hey Jesse, sing me something from Lisbon, Ohio." Well, there's no lyrics in that. But
that's a bad reference.
Sing me something from
Calgary. Just say Calgary. Yeah.
Like I probably wouldn't be able to. Like I wouldn't be able to pull it out. Whereas with the album that I'm going to review, I'd probably be able to.
Yeah.
So it's not that the songs aren't catchy. It's not that like
it's just hard to memorize them.
You just can't remember them.
The songs,
and that's part of what makes listening to the album for me so special, because like I really like it.
Touch upon this in a second.
Okay.
Well, in a couple songs maybe.
Okay.
Lyrically, musically, and melodically.
Yeah.
But back to Calgary. Before it gets to that bridge that I really, really enjoy, it's really soft. Like, really spacey and soft.
Yeah.
And there's like I don't know if it's a synth that's playing in the background. It's hard to actually tell what it is, but it's a strange instrument. But that makes it even more exciting when it gets to the big part.
Yeah.
I wish that the big part lasted a little longer than it did, but that's okay. Lyrically, this song is about falling out of love and how difficult it can be. I think.
Just put that little asterisk by like every single song.
Yeah.
I think.
Moving on to song number 9, which is called Lisbon, Ohio. I gave it a rating of
bad.
Yeah.
And it's an instrumental.
It's an instrumental. It doesn't do anything for me. I think in the grand scheme of the album, it's important because I will touch upon it in a second.
Okay. I was going to say, because it does lead into the next song.
Like most of the album, the focus of the music is on somber sounds and spacey feelings.
Yeah.
So I think that's the focus of the album. Instead of having things that are memorable musically, melodically, I think it moves forward instead of returning to things often. I think it continues to move forward and progress to where he wants it to go.
Yeah.
So that's why I think it might be hard to pinpoint certain things, unless you go to a Holocene where there's a refrain that comes back.
And at once I knew.
See,
I was not.
I told you I would get there.
Magnificent.
But this song on a 10-track album, I don't want it to be an instrumental, but it's, he wanted to be there, and I can see why, because
there's probably a purpose,
of the reason, the way that the music sounds on this album and the way that he composes it. It makes sense that he would have this on here to convey a certain feeling. And in his mind, when he's thinking of Lisbon, Ohio, I'm sure there's some particular epoch
that connects to the next song.
Or to this song in particular, where that feel that he feels when he hears the music reminds him of that.
But also,
that's what I'm assuming.
The ending of this song, though,
it goes
has a really nice cadence where it leads into the last song perfectly. Yes.
And the last song is called Beth/Rest.
Which I think is the most different sounding song on the whole album.
Yes, and I'm about to say that. It's very odd. It's very different than every other song on the album. I gave it decor. I almost recommended it because this is one of the songs.
This is my favorite song on the album.
This is one of the songs I did remember, how it sounds.
Yeah.
As soon as the song starts, it almost sounds like an 80s song. It's almost like a cheesy 80s song.
Yeah, well, because it has like that keyboard sound. Yes. That's like, it's not quite a synthesizer, but it's not quite a keyboard either. It has like that really soft, angelic type feeling.
Do you want to know what I picture when I hear this song come in? I picture George Michael, you know, like from Wham.
Yeah.
Like, gotta have faith. Like when he had his big hair and that earring. Yeah. I imagine him looking off into the distance with lights in the background and a bunch of fog coming up, and he's like just like staring really intense. And I want to hear this.
Yeah.
Because it's like super 80s sounding.
What this song reminds me of, and what I'll touch on before we end the episode about the next album, is that in most of his albums, the last song on the album is very much like this song. Different than the rest, and almost, in my opinion, they sound hymnal.
Okay, I could see that.
Both in melody and in the fact that it's just a simple keyboard.
it is a very memorable song, and it is the most different sounding song. And it has the most unique instrumentation, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
There are a lot of horns that come in unexpectedly. A lot of weird stuff. And lyrically, I think, again, it's about a failing relationship. But
Did you say the title of this track yet?
Yes, Beth/Rest. I said it.
/Rest, okay.
And in an interview, he was thinking of a place called Beth, and he's like, that sounds like paradise. So I don't know if it's a real place. Maybe he's made it up. But at the end of the song, they realize the importance of their relationship, I believe, and they're gonna go at it again, even though there's risk of them falling out of love.
Okay.
So there's hope at the end of this. And most of the songs are kind of dreary and dismal and somber and reflecting on lost love and kind of, I don't want to say wallowing in it, but experiencing it and reliving it. This song leaves you with a little bit of hope. So I think that's maybe why he put it at the end. It's a good ending. I'll say that.
Yeah. Sure.
Tying in the whole album together, it's not Bon Iver is not my cup of tea.
Yeah.
I gave it a very fair chance, and I see the merit in it. He put together a very well-crafted album. The production value is great. He is clearly a poet. He's got a lot to say on these album, like the album, the songs in particular.
Just not your style.
It's not my style. I don't see myself coming back to listen to it very often.
Yeah.
Or ever.
Yeah.
Holocene in Perth, I could see myself re-listening to. My other recommendation, probably not.
Okay.
I'm curious to see what I think about the next album. I hope it touches on some new ground. I'm sure it does, because I know there's vast changes from this album to the previous album. So though I'm not a Bon Iver fan, I'm excited to see where it goes with the next album.
Yeah.
I believe that you recommended it for a reason.
And it was a long time between both albums.
Yes, from 2011 to
7
2008.
years. 2016.
Or that was 17.
End of 2016, I think.
Okay, so
8 years between albums.
Yeah.
That's
Long
pretty
time.
crazy, yeah. Anyway, on to oh my. I gotta get another drink of this beer before we go on to Against Me! Exclamation point.
Okay.
And now for something completely different.
Just to let you know, if you don't like this album, I'm not going to hold it against you.
Okay. Okay. Did you really feel like you had to put that disclaimer in?
Well, just think about what I said.
What? Hold it against me? Oh.
Yes! He said it! Worth it.
Oh my goodness, Steve.
That was worth it.
That was such a bad joke, but it was hilarious.
It was worth it. If you don't like it, I don't care.
Yeah, okay. That's why I was confused. I was like, wait a second, what? Like, if I didn't like it, you would actually hold it? Like, had the capacity to hold it against me?
No. Obviously, I think you like it, but I'm not gonna...
I do like this album.
But it's a big change of pace from Bon Iver.
Yes, a very big change of pace, both in sound, lyrics, melody... Themes, everything. It's just
production
it's like
value,
complete 180.
Yeah,
a complete 180 switch.
Mm-hmm.
It's the whole sound of the album is very stripped back and very raw.
This is their debut album. Also, they're a band from I think Gainesville, Florida.
Yeah.
Punk. I don't even know if I want to say punk band.
I mean, they are punk. They are considered a punk band.
Folky punk band. I don't know. It's hard to classify them because it's a very unique sound.
There isn't too much in the way of melody. It's a lot of screaming.
Are there many distorted guitars on this punk album?
They're distorted. They're not. It's not like distortion. Okay, well, if you know guitar pedals and effects, they're not. It's not distortion.
Now, let's say
it's like slightly overdriven, a clean electric.
Now, let's say acoustic guitar versus acoustic's a bad idea. Let's say a nice, crispy, clean guitar versus
electric guitar.
Blink-182's All the Small Things, heavy, crunchy guitar.
Then it's not distorted at all.
That's what I was going for.
I'm saying it's if you know guitar effects, distortion is much different than overdrive.
Yeah.
And these guitars are clean electrics, slightly overdriven.
So they're punk, quote punk band.
Very clean.
That's unique to have the guitar sound that they do.
Yeah. And I'll say the biggest thing that I realized or found out first on this album, just clearly about the sound, is that the drums sound way different than any other like
drum
album
kit
that
you've
I've
ever heard.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know who did the production.
It's
or
not
the
like
engineering, but it's different.
The biggest change is the snare.
Yes, it does not sound like a snare drum.
They don't. There are two modes on a snare drum. Where you have the chains up, so the
snare is on.
The snare on or off.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times they have the snare off in this, which is weird, or like barely on.
I think it might just be the microphones or the way they mix it.
It could be.
It's an odd.
I like it though.
It's different.
I think it sounds
very
cool.
different.
Anyway, enough about the sound of it. Let me talk about the music.
Yes, let's.
On to track number 1, which is my first recommendation. I give it 5 out of 5, and it's called "Pints of Guinness Make You Strong."
Do they though?
On
St. Patrick's Day, they might.
Maybe.
In a brawl fight, they'll make you strong-headed.
True. From doing a little bit of research, this song is about Laura's grandfather's death. And it's kind of I think one of the lyrics is, "Evelyn, I'm not coming home tonight." Evelyn is her grandmother. And I guess I just say before we start this, Laura Jane Grace used to be
Tom Gable.
Tom Gable, but she had a what's the
gender reassignment
surgery. Yeah. So this album came out when she was still Tom Gable.
Yes. So for this album and for the next, I think, let's say 4 or 5 albums, it was recorded under Tom Gable. Yep. And then there was a switch to Laura Jane Grace. So for the rest of the episode, we'll go with Laura Jane Grace.
Yep, because that's who she is now.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's very good. It seems like a song that is like to honor her grandfather.
Fair enough.
And I love the chorus.
It's such a good song.
And just like James, I'm drinking Irish tonight.
It's so catchy. This is a staple of the live show for sure.
Is it?
Yes.
I can see that. It's very, very good. Mm-hmm. Anyway, on to the next track. Track number 2 is called "The Politics of Starving." I gave it 4 out of 5, and I'm just going to read one lyric that sums up the song. "When you're so hungry that you'd believe anything, well, they're selling you the politics of starving."
That sums up.
That's pretty much all you need.
It's a very political album. I'll say that.
Yes, for sure. The album, did I say the album? Reinventing Axel Rose.
I think we said at the beginning of the episode, but you probably good to say.
Anyway, on to track number 3, which is my second recommendation. "We Laugh at Danger," and then a whole bunch of other things after it.
Yeah.
This song is so darn good.
This is also a live staple. I'll say that.
Yeah,
I think they play this at the end of every show. Like this is the song they close with.
It seems like the song is about starting to tour. The chorus.
How did you?
The chorus, or one of the lines talks about driving a GM van, and if it makes it past the state line or something like that. So I think it's a song about starting to tour. But they repeat the chorus like 3 times at the end of the song, and they have like breaks in between them. Yeah. It's so good.
It's very infectious chorus.
So just based on the fact that it's like probably the catchiest song on this album, that's why I recommended it.
Fair enough.
Track number 4 is called "I Still Love You, Julie." Great chorus, and the title says it all, I think.
Fair enough.
I gave it 3.5 out of 5.
I've heard them do this one live as well. Well, the last time I saw them live, they were on their way to play the Fest in Florida. It's a concert festival. It's aptly titled The Fest.
Yeah.
And at the Fest, they were going to play this album front to back.
Yeah.
And since that was the last stop on the tour, we saw them. They were like, "We're going to play this album in its entirety at the Fest, but since you guys can't be there, we're going to play a bunch of songs off of that album for you tonight."
Nice.
So they played maybe like 6 or 7 songs off this album, then the rest of their set was all their songs.
That's pretty cool.
Really good set.
Anyway, on to track number 5, which is called "Scream Until You're Coughing Up Blood."
Ouchies.
Yeah, that sounds gross. I like this song a lot. I give it 4 out of 5. And basically, it's a song about like not getting caught in mistakes that you shouldn't be making.
Yeah.
Not getting caught in a situation like is wrong, but like your lusts or your downfalls are bringing you to them.
You're smarter than that.
Yeah. So the line I quoted, or not quoted, but the quote that I am going to quote here says, "Sit quiet another time when I should have said, 'Oh, This is too much. These are things I never wanted to be. So I guess the idea of scream until you're coughing up blood is always be moving towards what you should be. Like go all out. I think that's basically what they mean here. Track number 6 is called Jordan's First Choice. It kind of starts off really cool where she's just singing for the intro. And it's a huge song of like a lot of deep introspection, which after looking at the lyrics for these songs, I was surprised at like how deep they were because of how like gruff and shouty.
They're very shouty. Almost for someone who's not expecting it, almost hard to listen to, I would say.
Yeah, for sure. Whenever I first heard it, I was like, whoa. Because normally it's not like the normal shout that a punk band might have.
It's very different.
Like it's really gruff, and you think that she probably is coughing up blood.
Yeah.
With the way she screams.
It sounds painful.
Yeah, it does sound very painful. But it's still really good, though. Anyway, on to track number 7, which I gave a 3.5 out of 5. These anarcho-punks are mysterious.
The first mention of anarchy!
Yep,
it'll come back again.
Yes, it will. It seems like this song is commenting on people's societal positions. Pretty much.
I think they do that a lot.
Yeah.
Where do you sit?
Yeah. What?
Where do you sit?
Ah, yes. It's a pretty good song. But I'll move on to track number 8. It's called Reinventing Axel Rose, title track.
The bass guitar, I think, does something, that cool little line at the beginning of this song, I think, right?
I don't know.
I can't remember. I think this is...
That's a problem that I have all the time. Whenever we record, I'm always like, I've been listening to this album for like 2 weeks now, or like a week and a half, or a week, or something like that. But I still just like on the spot cannot remember what these songs sound like.
Fair enough.
Anyway, I really like this song. It's basically about wanting a band, or like wanting to be a band, or wanting to listen to music where members in that band are just in it for the music. Like they're not in it for the fame, they're not in it for a paycheck, they're not in it to, I don't know.
They're soul skaters.
Soul skaters?
You ever see the movie Brink?
No.
It was Disney Channel. I think it was a Disney Channel original. But he was in
skaters.
inline skating. He wasn't in it to get sponsorships. He wasn't in it for the paycheck. He was a soul skater.
He was in it because he loved skating.
Yeah. He's like, I'm soul skater. I love that movie though.
What?
It's a really good movie. That's what introduced me to the band, the Suicide Machines. Believe it or not.
Okay, interesting.
But that's for another time.
Anyway, the one line that I really like from that song is, "Let's make everybody sing that they are the beginning and ending of everything, that we are all stronger than everything they taught us that we should fear." So,
it's a good line.
Yeah, it's kind of a good line about the type of band that they want to be, I'm assuming. Track number 9, back to the anarchy theme. It's called Baby, I'm an Anarchist.
And I think that title is pretty on the nose.
That's pretty much what it is, yeah.
The song's talking about like...
'Cause baby, I'm an anarchist, you're a spineless liberal.
Doesn't he talk about like, I was like, when I said I wanted to kill what's-his-face, I wasn't kidding. Or like, he's like, I was going to go throw stuff at the glass and you never met me.
They were like, one of the lines is like, but when it time to throw bricks through Starbucks, you left me all alone.
Yeah, so he's like, I'm in it to actually be like a literal
he's
anarchist.
like, I'm actually an anarchist.
Yeah, it's like, I'm gonna follow through.
A spineless liberal.
Yeah, you're not gonna follow through.
Yeah,
spineless liberal. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, so I mean, it's
a funny song. It's not my favorite, but it's funny.
I like it. It's good. But we've talked about how weird the idea of anarchy is, and that's kind of a song that even like proves it.
Mm-hmm.
But. Just because I don't think anarchy could actually ever happen.
Yeah, I don't believe in pure anarchy.
Because he or she is still, committing to some type of dogma. If you were a pure anarchist, you would be a hermit. And that's it.
Yeah. I honestly don't know what pure anarchist would look like. I can't fathom it.
Yeah, because
I can't fathom.
We've already mentioned the Joker and
it's
whatnot.
It's a rabbit hole.
He's not an anarchist either. I guess you could probably say Nietzsche. is probably the closest you can get to an anarchist.
But even that's not...
Yeah, I'm saying the closest.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's a subject we don't need to talk about right now.
Yeah, let's just be honest.
The track number 10 is called Walking Is Still...
Honest.
Honest, you guessed it. Yeah. Because Steve said, let's be honest.
This song starts off with a pretty cool musical intro. It's that doo 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 doo. This is one of the ones they played live when I saw them. It's just a really fun, catchy song.
Yeah, I agree with you.
The chorus is dope.
It's an anti-religion song.
Probably.
Pretty much.
Not surprising.
It's basically saying that religion is a crutch. One of the lines is, when you're on your knees, you can be anybody. Referring to being on your knees to pray. Mm-hmm. And like I think the chorus or one of the lines that she sings is, why didn't Jesus ever part the seas for me, or something like that. Mm-hmm. So referring to religion in that way, and it's fairly clear that they do not agree with religion.
Yeah. Well, they have a punk band that does.
True. I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe some do.
Not much. Or if it's not what was, I don't know very many.
Yeah.
Or any.
Anyway, if you've been following along, I've only recommended 2 songs.
How many songs left are there on the album?
1. Track number 11. I see you trying to make a joke here about the title.
I can't.
I'm guessing you're trying to play off the first thing in the title, right? No?
I just let it go.
Okay, I'll let it go.
Let it go.
Track number 11.
Can't hold it in anymore.
I always wish that song was about a fart.
I do too. I just make believe that it is.
Let it go. Let it go. Anyway, track number 11, the last song on the album, my last recommendation, 5 out of 5.
I'm surprised. I might not have picked this as a recommendation.
It's called 8 Full Hours of Sleep.
I wish I could get 8 full hours of sleep.
I know, right? Even this past night, because today was my day off, and I was like, all right, sweet, I'm going to be able to sleep in, but I naturally woke up at like 6:45.
Ah, lame.
It was so annoying.
That's the worst.
Anyway. But this song, 8 full hours of sleep, can be summed up in one line, or in one idiom. Ignorance is bliss. That's basically what it's about.
Do you know what I think of when I hear the phrase ignorance is bliss?
What?
I think of The Matrix, the first movie.
Oh.
Do you remember
Neo.
Cypher?
Oh, yeah. He's like, I want to eat the fake steak.
Yeah, it's Cypher. For those of you who don't know, The Matrix is a computer program type deal, alternate reality that every single person is plugged into so that they don't know what's going on in the real world, where they're essentially just being harnessed for their life battery.
For those of you who don't know what The Matrix is,
watch it. Just watch it. But Cypher is sitting there with one of the agents. He's selling out his
Agent
friends.
Smith.
And he's eating a steak, and he knows it's fake. And he's like, I want to like this steak. He's like, but he puts his mouth. He's like, ignorance is bliss.
Yeah,
that's what I think of every time I hear someone say ignorance is bliss. I imagine him sitting there. He's a great actor, though. That guy.
For real, for sure.
He's also in.
So is Hugo Weaving.
Yes, he is.
Agent Smith.
Yes, he is.
Anyway,
sorry.
Enough about the Matrix.
Sorry about that. We could talk about the Matrix.
Enough about the Matrix.
Unless you get into the Matrix 3.
Oh god.
Which I could still talk about for hours, but for different reasons.
Yeah, for very different reasons.
Well, even this, it just
Neo
just watch the first one and leave
the savior.
It there. Watch the first Matrix and then don't watch anymore.
Yeah. Well, the second one wasn't too bad.
It's fun, but it just is convoluted.
The first one is definitely the best.
I think the second one's convoluted for the sake of being convoluted. They're like, our first movie is so crazy and out there, we need to do something even bigger and crazier. That's why. But this isn't a Matrix podcast. This is a music and beer podcast. And we'll talk about the beer in a minute. Let's talk about the music now.
Okay. I'm gonna kind of delve into this song a little bit because I really like it.
Go for it. It's your last recommendation. You go for it.
The first lyrics are: when you sleep, no one is homeless. When you sleep, you can't feel the hunger. When you sleep, no one is lonely in a dream. And it's really good too. It's very quiet. The song is quiet. It's just, I'm assuming, is a like I said earlier, barely overdriven guitar.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just her singing. When you sleep, no one is homeless. When you sleep. So it's, first of all,
obviously that's the ignorance is bliss part. When you're sleeping,
whenever
all the problems of the world disappear.
Yeah, whenever I first heard this song, I was like, oh my gosh, that's so catchy.
But what if you slept and everyone was homeless? You could dream it up if you wanted to.
Yeah, I guess so.
But no, that's obviously what they're trying to say. I'm just being goofy.
So they go through a couple more lines after that, mentions of without classes, without nations. But then the key line in this song is, and the sun's always rising in the sky somewhere. And if young hearts should explode from all the lies they've been told. Okay, so keep that in mind.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind.
And then she goes on to say, let the new night bring you peace. Okay, so, and the new night.
Yes.
So she's talking about her ideal, maybe state of being that people would live in.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so she keeps talking about, let the night bring you peace and the promise of tomorrow, where we can wake to a new beginning. Tomorrow, I'll have all lost their faces, my friends and family, memories of all we had. Where will you wake up? Beyond title, beyond lease, careers and laws, something more than borders on a map. So it almost reminds me of like John Lennon's song Imagine, where he's talking about like how great would life be if there were no borders and no like all this other stuff.
You may say I'm a dreamer.
Yeah, but John Lennon was
not
the only one.
But I'm not the only one.
He wasn't the only one because Laura is also a dreamer. Anyway, so remember that first line in that verse? Let the new night bring you peace.
Yes.
And then the last part of the song, she says, and the sun's always rising in the sky somewhere. So that new night, that ideal that she wants, will never come to be because the sun's always rising somewhere.
Very intentional, I would say.
And so then the last line of the song, she says, to live through one night like this, I would trade it for the silence. So it was, and then the song ends with like this synthesizer note just being held out. So I really like that song. I always really like whenever a punk band is like super deep and really honest about their lyrics and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed that album.
It's going to be a big change with the next album.
Yeah, I'm kind of assuming that.
All over.
I'm assuming the production is going to change a lot. Themes, singing,
all kinds of stuff.
Everything.
But
I like that song. It was good.
Anything else to say about that album in general?
It was surprising. I'll just say that.
Is there a replay factor for you?
Yes. I would say that whenever I was listening to it this past week, I was never like, all right, I got to listen to this for the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I was always like, all right, I'll listen to this album. Sweet.
Fair enough.
I definitely liked other songs more than other ones.
Yeah.
But I still liked it, though.
See, I liked Against Me, and this isn't one of my favorite albums from theirs.
Really?
I just was trying to go for a very different album sounding.
Yeah.
However, some of the songs I really, really, really enjoy are on this album, like Pints of Guinness Make You Strong.
This one? Oh,
yeah. On that album. So this has some songs that I really, really enjoy. Like there's some of my favorite Against Me songs, but it's not my favorite of their albums.
Yeah.
I just thought it was a really good starting place.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Awesome.
So next week we'll talk about...
Next week, Steve will be listening to Bon Iver's album 22 A Million.
And Jesse will be listening to Against Me's Transgender Dysphoria Blues.
Yes.
We'll also be trying beers that are different than the beers we're drinking now, but they'll also be
very
related.
Similar.
Yes. Like I said, I've been having the Bearded Iris Homestyle, and I've got just a sip left here.
And I have been having Evil Twins Yin. And I just have a sip as well. Yep. Final thoughts on this beer? On your beer, I mean, or mine?
Well, let's just give final thoughts on the beers.
Okay.
Mine has been consistently great the entire podcast.
Same here.
It's been just as juicy, just as delicious. Now that I'm at the bottom, I'm staring at my glass. I can see some like a substantial amount of sediment sitting down there.
Yeah.
Like if you hold it down, well, I kind of just swirled it around, so it's hard to tell.
Yeah.
But it really exemplifies that it's unfiltered. There's particles
and it's
floating
just
here.
delicious.
It's very delicious, juicy, delicious, hoppy. It's not overbearingly hoppy. This is an IPA.
That's very true.
That people who don't like IPAs might like.
Will definitely like.
Like I said, my dad is not an IPA lover. I think when he had this one, he's like, it's okay, which for him is like is huge.
Yeah, it's very juicy, very sweet, and just has that little bit of hop to give it that backbone that the body needs.
Yeah.
Mine is still absolutely delicious. Roasty malties out the wazoo. It's so good. I'm loving it.
Fair enough. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. So let's
magic phrase time. What say you?
What say you that we give the magic phrase? Cheers our glasses and down our beers.
Sounds great. Man, that is so delicious.
Very delicious. I'm happy with that beer.
I'm happy with that beer. I'm happy with both these albums this week.
I guess I could have said this earlier. I didn't really anticipate or look forward to listening to this album at all, but I appreciate it more than I would have. I'll tell you that
for sure.
It's not my favorite thing, but I appreciate it way more than I would have. That's what we hope to accomplish with American Brews and Tunes, is to make you listen to things you might not have listened to otherwise, and give you new perspectives.
Yep, broaden not only your musical horizons, but also personal horizons.
Yes, personal horizons.
By listening to other people's, I'd say, works of art, or what people put their lives into, their souls into.
Yeah, it'll open up some new stuff for you.
Is very beneficial.
Yeah.
So, anyway, and why not have a beer?
Yeah, why not?
While talking about it.
Let's drink a beer.
Let's drink it here.
Wow. Well, once again, my name is Stephen Johnston.
And my name is
Jesse Titus. And whether you're saying it regular voice or you're whispering, this is American Brews and Tunes.
Thanks for listening. Peace.
Here's a theme song. You know it's not a mean song. It's a good song, just as it should song. American Brews and Tunes. Shibbity-beeby-da.